What's up, guys? We already reviewed Slumber Party Massacre, the first... Wait. No, we have to do this right. What's up, guys? It's time to kick it up a notch. And we're gonna do... Slumber Party Massacre II. Let's do this. Slumber Party Massacre II stars Crystal Bernard, Kimberly MacArthur, Juliet Cummings, and is directed by Deborah Brock. What's up, guys? If you remember, not too long ago, I actually reviewed Slumber Party Massacre, and that is a fun-ass movie. So I loved it so much that I had to get the sequels. And I found that the only way you can get the sequels is really eBay, because they're out of print. And they're going for some pretty good prices. I ended up finding it. I found this on eBay, and I paid a little bit more than I should have for it. But you know what? After watching Slumber Party Massacre 2, no regrets. I'm gonna tell you right now, some of you are gonna think this movie is a complete shit show, and it kind of is, but in the best way. Really, this is just B movie cheese at its finest. You know, it's a B slasher, and even more so than the first one. This one leans a lot more on comedy than the first one did. But it's kind of the same type deal, you know, with a slumber party and this killer going around killing everybody. And the killer in this movie is just irresistible. So we're gonna get into all that. But first off, quick plot synopsis. It's a really simple plot. It's just this band, this all-girl band, and they're going to this condo to practice. The main character, Courtney, who is Courtney from the first movie. You know, this takes place a few years after. She's still having all these like flashbacks and nightmares from the first movie, as she probably would. And so, all of a sudden, this killer, she kind of like dreams him up, kind of like Freddy Krueger. You know, it definitely has a Nightmare on Elm Street vibe to it. And I like when sequels kind of do that, kind of like what Prom Night 2 did. And so the killer just kind of comes out of nowhere, and he's this rockabilly 50s looking dude. And he's got these really funny one-liners, and it's a blast. It really is. And so the kills are irresistible because of the weapon. It's one of the coolest weapons. I mean, having a drill for a weapon, right away, it's a good, you know, you're in the right direction in terms of a slasher. But when you make it like a heavy metal guitar with a drill at the end of it, I mean, you really don't even have to like use it. You can just look at the thing and just be, you know, in awe of its majesty. But there are some fun little kills in this thing. But I will say, for like the first hour of the movie, it's more about, you know, these characters and, you know, this slumber party, and they're just having a good time, talking about boys, you know, all this fun stuff, you know, having their little band practice. And it feels more like a comedy for the first hour. There are moments in the movie where our main character, Courtney, she has these nightmares about the killer. So they kind of wedge him in here and there throughout the first portion of the movie. But then he finally actually starts doing some real killing in like the last half hour. Getting down to the characters of this movie, Crystal Bernard, when I was watching this movie, I was like, where have I seen her from? And she's got that southern accent. She was actually in the show Wings, and I used to watch that show like back in the 90s. So I guess, you know, she's one of those, she got her start doing this, you know, B-level slasher, and then she jumped over to television. But she is our main character. She plays Courtney. She does a decent job. That's one thing about this movie, as cheesy as it is, the acting is not too bad, actually. I'd say the acting might even be a little bit better than the first one, because you do have some decent actors here. Also, Juliet Cummings, this is a Friday the 13th alumni. Her and Heidi Kozak were both in Friday movies. She was in Friday Part 5. She was also in Psycho 3. And so she's like, I guess, the nudity part of this movie. There's always got to be, you know, at least one female that gets naked in these slumber party movies, and she's the one. Surprisingly, the one that doesn't get naked is Kimberly MacArthur, and a lot of you are going to be really upset by that, because she was actually a Playboy Playmate, and boy was she a Playboy Playmate. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And it shocks me that she wasn't actually the girl that got naked. It was in her contract that she wouldn't get naked for this movie. But you know, Juliet Cummings does. You know, I think she's naked in every one of her movies that she's done. You know, Psycho 3, Friday Part 5, and this one. You know, I was telling you about the first hour of this movie and how it's more like just a comedy, you know, a fun comedy type of movie. It's effective though, actually, and because I like movies about musicians and bands, and you know, it's an all-girl band, so that's a lot of fun. But the music they're playing is actually pretty damn catchy. Like, it was so catchy that I was finding myself looking up like the soundtrack to Slumber Party Massacre 2. There's even a band, I wasn't even going to mention this in the review, but I thought it was interesting. There was a band that actually, it's a punk band, and they actually have an album called Slumber Party Massacre 2. The whole album is like based on this movie, so it's definitely got a fan base. And after I did the first movie, there were a lot of people that said they prefer this one over the first one. I don't. I prefer the first one over this one, but this one was still a lot of fun. And one of the reasons it was a lot of fun was because of the killer. I will say the killer, now he's very different than the killer in the first movie. The killer in the first movie is very serious. He's really psychotic. But, you know, the actor that played that guy was, you know, he took the role very serious. This one, his name is Adnis Illich. I think I said that right. But, you know, his resume is very small. He only did like this and a couple other things back in the 80s. He really reminded me of Sammy Kerr from Trick or Treat. You know, the heavy metal Trick or Treat from 1986. He looks like Sammy Kerr's little cousin. That's what he looked like. But he's got this whole rockabilly thing. And there's this like music number before he even kills one of the victims in that that last act. That's pretty irresistible actually, and a lot of fun. I love to jam it to the floor, let me twice spots roar. Well, I'm an inch off the ground. This, you know, it really is a horror comedy in the best way. You know exactly what you're getting with this type of movie. Right away, you know that it's not going to be like a serious type of slasher. It's just so much fun. And it's one of those that you're like, you'll be thinking about it after. You're like, wow, I had a really good time with that movie. But as far as the kills go, I wish they would have went a little bit further with that weapon. I mean, there's like one scene where he's in the backseat of a car, and how in the hell would you like position that guitar so you can get it through the back seat, through the other victim? There's no way it would fit. So, you know, it's not very practical, but it's still really cool looking. And there is one scene that doesn't involve the drill. It's she has like a zit. Heidi Kozak's character, she's got like this zit, and it gets really gross and disgusting. I'm not a big fan of like gross kills. It reminded me of the food kill from one of those Nightmare movies. I believe Nightmare 4 had the food kill, or it might have been 5. I'm sure you guys will correct me in the comments. You always do that. Now, spoiler warning here, the last scene in this movie was kind of a letdown too, because none of it happened. This whole thing was pretty much just a nightmare for the main character, Courtney. And that was kind of a bummer because the killer is so effective in this movie that I would have wanted more of the killer in like future movies, which I don't think he's going to be in part 3. We'll see. I haven't seen part 3 yet. But I really dug this killer so much that I wanted to see, like, he could be like a horror icon if they kept using him, because he was used very well. The guy that played him did a great job with the character. You could tell he had a lot of fun with him. And you know, it was just a different way of utilizing a slasher character, or a killer. So I'm going to give this movie a purchase worthy. It was a lot of fun. I kind of went back and forth with the rating. I was going to give it a humdrum, but I'm glad I waited today to sit down and review this because it's still on my mind. And I figure if it's on my mind, if you're like into B-level slashers, then this one's definitely a must-own. So I'm hoping part 3's good as well. This could be one of those sleepaway camp deals where like the first sleepaway camp was serious, the second one was more silly. Same thing here. Now the third sleepaway camp is trash, horrible. So I'm hoping the third Slumber Party Massacre isn't as bad. We'll see. So anyway, guys, post in the comments your thoughts on Slumber Party Massacre 2. Looking forward to hearing them. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free Fall Fridays. I got my Killer Flicks t-shirt on right now. If you want one, go to the Drumdums store. You can get one. Designed by the great Woody Bowen. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. And Drumdum out.